So has everyone recovered from that ridiculous, crazy game on Saturday against the Washington Capitals? Well, I hope you are. It's been what? Close to 48 hours. I'd say right now 36 to 40 hours since the end of that game. I'm going to break it all down for you all to start this episode and how Evgeni Malkin, yes, Gino Machino, saved the day with perhaps one of the biggest goals for the Pittsburgh Penguins this season. That's coming up right after this drop.
You're Locked On Penguins, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Penguins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at @Penguins. And, of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms. So let's jump right into it. Penguins 4, Capitals 3 in a game that featured everything about this 2022-2023 Pittsburgh Penguins season. This game was also a full summary of the Penguin season. Play well in the first period, no score. Jump out to a multi-total goal lead in the second period, take that into the third. You make it a 3-goal lead very early on in the third period, and all hell breaks loose. You give up the lead. The Capitals tie it with 2:44 left. You're thinking, oh yeah, here we go again, right? No. This was the ending I did not see coming. Evgeni Malkin steals the puck from Anthony Mantha, and I have no idea what the heck he was doing. Goes blocker side on Darcy Kemper, $1:20 left, still a lot of time. That arena is going gaga. I was in attendance for that game. It was the first Pens game I think I've gone to in a little over a month. This had a playoff-like feel to it, a playoff-like atmosphere. Easily the loudest I have ever heard PPG Paints Arena in the games that I have been to. There's the first, playoff type of atmosphere that I've ever seen. For those that don't know, maybe you're a little more newer to the show, I was supposed to go to PPG for a playoff game in 2013 against the Boston Bruins. They got swept. My mom came down after they got swept. She had a couple tears running down her eyes, and I just said, like, what's wrong? And she goes, well, we had tickets for you and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I kept asking for them, but she kept denying it, which was funny. And I that was the chance I was going to see a playoff game in Pittsburgh because the school year was getting out earlier. But this was the closest I've ever, seen to a playoff game, and it lived up to the hype. The crowd was into it. They were going nuts. I thought the arena was honestly just going to collapse with how loud it was. I was so very unfortunate that I was never able to make it up to Mellon Arena to see the Igloo. Perks of living in Virginia for 20, 21 years of my life. I'll be 26 this year. I wish I could have gone there. I really, really do. But, Evgeni Malkin, the hero that the Penguins needed, beautiful shot, gives the Penguins the win. They're able to defend the lead with 1:20. I know people thought, there's too much time. And there was. The Capitals actually came close a couple of times to tying the game. But Evgeni Malkin became the hero when the Penguins needed him to. You lose that game in overtime. I don't care. You lose the game in any shape or fashion. Regulation, overtime, shootout. You open up the door for the Capitals to come back into the playoff race. Say you go to overtime and you lose or a shootout, you're only 3 points up on them compared to 6 right now. Say the Capitals win that game in regulation. Only 2 points up on them right now with a game in hand, but Washington all of a sudden is right back in the race. You needed to get a result there. They did. And you almost effectively eliminated the Capitals from the race unless the Capitals go on like a massive surge here in their final 8 games and the Penguins really struggle, which, is possible. Anything is honestly possible this time of year, but I would say it's more to the unlikely side because the Capitals have a really daunting schedule while the Penguins do not, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But, Malkin, he had the celebration of a lifetime. His wife, Anna, was going crazy. His son, Nikita, was there right there next to her. That was just an amazing moment. You as the great Mike Lang, as always said, you have to be here to believe it. And I'm really glad I was able to, secure tickets for that game. I took my cousin. And what a game to go to. That's that. I said on my Twitter, I'll say it now. That was a season saver for this team. And I've probably said that a little too often this season because they're in a situation they're never really in, fighting just to get in the playoffs. Usually they have a spot locked up by now. But that was a season saver if I've ever seen one. Evgeni Malkin gets the game winner. Penguins get out with a 4-3 lead and basically just, saluting the Capitals. Hey, goodbye. You're probably out of the race now. At the end of the day, Malkin gets the last laugh after taking that really boneheaded penalty in the third period, which we'll get to in just a second. But, that was such a special moment for Gino. That kind of moment, that's one of the reasons why he came back. Forget, the milestones that he'll hit, off the ice stuff, the legacy. Moments like these is why I think he decided to come back. Does Vince Trocheck score that goal for the Penguins in this situation? No. Does Andrew Copp score that goal in the situation? No. Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep harping that drum for the people that wanted him gone. It's not, that goal isn't for those people. It's for people that, wanted him to stay because it made sense both financially and just fit on the ice for the Penguins. You weren't going to get an upgrade over him. And with how much of a clutch player he has been throughout his career, and for as much as he nags you with the penalties or some sloppy play in the defensive zone or being lazy at the point of the power play, you don't get that kind of moment from probably anyone else in the free agent market last season if they're there in that situation. Evgeni Malkin, again, he was the hero the Penguins needed in that game, especially after coughing up that lead late. And for right now, he saved their season, and they're 3 points up right now on the Florida Panthers for that final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. And it was just vintage Malkin. She sees Mantha being a little too cute with the puck, comes over, swoops it right off his stick, comes in, he's gone, knows exactly where he is going to shoot that puck. Goes blocker side past Kemper. It looked like Kemper gave him a little too much room there on the blocker side, at least when I've watched it on replay a couple of times. But, a all-time great player is going to make you pay every time that situation. I don't know what Mantha was doing there. That trade has aged like absolute milk for the Capitals. And Malkin made no mistake, and he brought the house down, and he was able to help secure that win for the Penguins. Even though it shouldn't have come to that. They should be able to defend 3-goal leads in the third period, but with how they have defended this season, it's been comical, basically. You knew it was never over. Even after the Penguins went 3-0, even after it was 3-1 with 7 minutes left in the period. You just knew something else was crazy was going to happen. Sure enough, it did, but the Penguins are lucky that Malkin was there to save the day. And he was all over the puck in that game, had plenty of quality chances. Again, took that really stupid penalty. And we'll just touch on that there while we're talking about Malkin. That penalty changed the course of the game. Because remember, Penguins got that power play up 3-0. I believe it was 16 minutes left in the third period. You're getting some chances. A little scrum ensues, and you can tell the Capitals are baiting him. They're baiting him to push back, to cross-check, roughing, whatever. And he did. It was definitely a reffing the score kind of call because the Capitals were down 3-0 and the refs are trying to give the other team momentum there. But I'll also say this, you cannot give officials any reason to penalize you in that situation because they're always going to take the guy that retaliates, especially when that team is up 3-0. You want to make it a more competitive game and that stuff. I don't even think that's a conspiracy theory. That's just how NHL officiating is. It's like that basically on a nightly basis. In that situation, got to skate away. You have the power play. You kill off more time of the clock. That led to the Tom Wilson goal. And the Capitals started pushing a little bit more. Alex Ovechkin gets the goal to make it 3-2. Dylan Strome makes it 3-3 with 2:44 left. Just cannot take that penalty there in that situation. Outside that, though, he was flying. He's been, he was a little bit cold coming into the game. According to Bob Rowe, he only had one goal in his last, 11, 12, 13 games, something like that. But he made sure to break that streak with this one with, one of the biggest goals of the season for the Penguins, while also delivering a potential fatal knockout blow to one of the Penguins' biggest rivals. So wanted to start off the show with that, shouting out Evgeni Malkin while also touching on the penalty, just because it was a truly great moment for him and the rest of the Penguins. But coming up after this commercial break, we're going to touch on other aspects from the game that I saw at PPG Paints Arena from in person, also to look at the stats. And then later on, we will preview what is to come for Tuesday and a little bit later this week as the Penguins schedule, softens up a little bit. Dare I say it, it does soften up. But before we get to that next segment, we have to touch on Athletic Greens. Our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I started taking Athletic Greens because I didn't really have time in the morning to work out. I want a better gut health and more energy, better optimized immune system, and all of that good stuff. So you're probably wondering, what is this? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy recovery, focus, and aging, all of those things. It's also lifestyle friendly, where you eat keto, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It also contains less than 1 gram of sugar and has over 7,000 5-star reviews, and it costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day, and that's it. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, we're back in this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am, of course, your host, Hunter Hodes. You want to follow me on Twitter, Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter, Eleanor Penguins. And, of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. So, other things I really took away from this game, Ryan Poehling, he has turned into a very solid depth piece for the team. You all know my thoughts. I don't think the Penguins' bottom six is particularly any good. Mikhail Granlund still stinks right now. Josh Archibald really hasn't done anything since coming back. I don't really think his contract's going to get renewed after this season. Jeff Carter is Jeff Carter. That's half the guys right there. I know Nick Bonino's out, which stinks, but a lot of these players are just not getting the job done. The only 2 players I think down there that are, at least adequate are Drew O'Connor and Ryan Poehling. And he put a beautiful move, I believe it was on Sandin, coming in a little bit of a mini breakaway and roofed it past Darcy Kemper. You could tell that goal meant a lot to him just because he's been really banged up this season. Poehling, that is, he's been dealing with that very much nagging injury for the last several months. But that was a beautiful goal. Finally getting some depth scoring from this team. Really nice to see him get on the board. And then Chad Ruhwedel gets his first goal in basically, over a year, definitely his first goal of the season. Roofed a wrist shot past Darcy Kemper's glove, makes it 2-0. And I'm like, this is what we're getting in this economy? A game with a goal from Ryan Poehling and Chad Ruhwedel? That is what we're getting? Didn't think I'd ever see the day. I mean, that was just incredible. And, it's always nice when the big guns don't always have to factor in on every single goal, like, for the most part that they have this season. In games like this, and in games like you saw in Colorado, the depth stepped up. But in a lot of other games, that has not happened, and it's led to just the core really having to carry this team to, the spot that they're in right now. They're 3 points up on a playoff spot. But to see the depth step up in this one when they needed it most, that meant a lot. And it was really good to see. Hopefully the Penguins can have more of that in these final 9 games. Jake Guentzel, he gets on the board, his 32nd of the season. I said it on Twitter, I'll say it again now. This is probably one of the most under-the-radar 30-goal campaigns I've ever seen. People are saying he's struggling. No, it's not. He just, he hasn't, maybe buried some of the chances that he normally does, but that's also hockey. The fact that he's still at 30-plus goals this season is a testament to how good he is. And how, if he was producing like he was last season, he'd probably be on his way to 50 right now. He's one of the best goal scorers in the league. It does not take much. You saw what happened on that power play. Wasn't much there. Nothing was happening, but he gets behind the defense, goes 5-hole on Kemper. It's all it takes, the slimmest of margins with him. You give him just a smidge of time, boom, you're gone. Game over. But, well, shouldn't say game over, but, you're toast. Puck's in the back of the net. Jake's done that to numerous goalies over the years. He may be at 32. He may be only at 32 goals right now, but I can promise you, he's still having a pretty decent season, even though he's not on pace for 50, like a lot of us thought that he was going to be. Okay, goaltending. Let's discuss it. Casey DeSmith, a rock through 2 periods. He was making some outstanding saves. My wonderful German Shepherd Teddy is just going crazy at something downstairs. I don't know what it is. But Casey DeSmith makes a lot of, great saves in those first 2 periods. Stops an Alex Ovechkin breakaway also, which was just incredible in itself, because usually when Alex Ovechkin comes in on a breakaway, it's game over for any goaltender. I don't care who it is, but he sticks his left pad out, excuse me, right on. When you look on the screen, it's his right pad, but it's his left pad when you're like behind the net. Sticks out that pad and absolutely robs him. He also robbed John Carlson from the left far circle when Ovechkin got the puck to him. That was also a beautiful save by DeSmith. And it was looking like, these first 2 periods, it looks like he could start more games moving forward. This is the guy. And then you saw what happened in the 3rd period, where he's just swimming in his crease. That first goal, Crystal Tang stunk there. He knows it. He slammed his stick coming off the ice. He has to do a better job defending Tom Wilson. He can't allow him to get to the front of the net there. And, even though DeSmith swam out of his net, he was still able to get back a little bit where, he should be able to make that save. But also, Letang was bad there too. I think both of them were the main people at fault on that goal. But still, DeSmith, why are you even going out of your crease there in that situation? That's the thing that I really don't understand. There's just no reason to, bite so hard on the fake when there was, no reason to there. I think, that's my thing. He's done that, a lot throughout his NHL career. And I just didn't really like that. The second goal, you maybe you want to save there, but it's also an Alex Ovechkin vintage slap shot from his spot. It wasn't that hard of a shot. I feel like he maybe could have had it, but still, it's an Ovechkin goal. I'm not going to go too hard after that. But the Dylan Strome goal, again, he's swimming around in his crease. I feel like I want to save there with 2:44 to go. But that's Casey DeSmith's game. He'll wow you for a few moments, especially in those first 2 periods, but then he'll have a period like in the 3rd period where it's like, how is this guy in the NHL? And honestly, it's been like that throughout his whole career. He'll give you some good games, some good moments. Other times it'll be like, what the heck? How is this guy even up here? That's just, and I feel like sometimes that's, backup goalies in general, but with him, he just, I think, needs to work on that part of his game a little bit, where he doesn't need to be so aggressive leaving his net in those situations. Like you can stay there. It's okay. You don't need to venture off on it, just on an expedition or anything like that. But still want to see him put together a full 60 minutes. I'm assuming Jari's going to go on Tuesday, but also would not be surprised if DeSmith does. But, I think they're probably going to split most of these. I think DeSmith's going to get a few starts here down the stretch. I think they're going to give Jari a little bit of rest time overall. At 5-on-5, the Penguins were out-attempted by the Capitals. Scoring chances-wise, they also were out-chanced. High danger, the Penguins won that. 53% of those high-danger chances. At expected goals, though, it was about 50-50. The Penguins, again, play well in the first couple periods, but in the 3rd period, the Capitals really took over after they got that goal from Tom Wilson. This game was a little bit chippy, as expected. You got Evgeni Kuznetsov going after Josh Archibald, I think, for some reason. Then Archibald fought Rasmus Sandin and just made him look like a fool. Tom Wilson doing Tom Wilson things. Look, I'm not surprised. I can sit here and talk about Tom Wilson for 10, 15 minutes, but this is not Locked On Caps. If you want to hear about Tom Wilson, go check out Dan Holme of Locked On Caps. He does a great job over there. But, he's just, Tom Wilson does Tom Wilson things. I'm not really surprised at all. But overall, Penguins, they got the result I think that they deserved in this one. They needed that win. They got it. They're now 6 points up on the Capitals, 6 points up on the Sabres, 3 points up on the Panthers for that final wild card spot. And again, I liked a lot of what I saw. I will say that POJ Chris Tang pairing is not doing it for me right now. This team really needs Marcus Pettersson back. No disrespect to POJ. I think he's been pretty decent this season, but they need Pettersson back on that pairing. And it's unfortunate that he's probably going to be out for most, if not all, of the remaining 9 games of this regular season. Good news, though, Jeff Petrie looks like he's going to be coming back on Tuesday. I think he'll be a game-time decision, participating in a full practice on Monday as Ethan Dory. So I think both will be returning in that game. But, they need reinforcements back on defense. It's just, you can't be playing with just a makeshift defensive core for, during when the games really matter most, I would say. But that does it for this second segment. Coming up to end the show, how can the Penguins strike back against the Red Wings and beat a team that is really down right now? I'm going to touch on that coming up. But first, let's get into Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories, then you got to try Built Bar. And what makes them so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate, and that's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they are healthy. They only have 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today. You can pick up a box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs, or, brownie batter and churro. You can thank me later when it comes to that. All right, we're back in this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at Penguins. Of course, thank you so much for making this your first listen of the day. So next up for the Penguins, game 74 out of 82 on Tuesday night. They will head to Little Caesars Arena to take on the Detroit Red Wings, a struggling Red Wings team, I should say. They've lost 12 of their last 15 games, 3-11 and 1 overall. And that's after they got back into the race. Remember, this Red Wings team was only 3, 4, 5 points out of the playoffs heading into the trade deadline. Since then, just flatlined. They're done. They're 11 points back at the Penguins right now. They are cooked. They're not coming out of this. And this is another example. The Penguins need to get results here. They've learned their lessons, I think. These last couple of weeks, losing to Montreal, blowing a 2-0 lead against them, losing to Ottawa, both in regulation and both at PPG Paints Arena, two teams who are below them in the standings. You have to play at the level you did against those two teams, but get the result. And also, I'll say play a little bit better defensively as well. Penguins didn't play well defensively in either of those two games, but I think they still played well enough to win because, they attempted those two teams. They outchanced them, high danger, expected goals, all that. But yeah, this is a Red Wings team that is there for the taking. And, they've gotten bad goaltending all season. Their special teams are middle to below average, but they can still have players that can hurt you. Joe Veleno, Dylan Larkin on their top line. He has been awesome. He just is coming off a contract extension where he's going to be making a lot of money. It's over $8 million per season. Very deserved for a player who I believe is at, trying to make sure I got this right. I believe he's at 80 points right now. Just double checking here. 68 points, 71 games. Still, point per game pace. Lucas Raymond, another very young player. Adam Ernie, Andrew Kopp, David Perron to round out their second line. Dominic Kubalik, Pius Suter, Alex Chason, Jonathan Bergeron, Austin Sarznick, and Matt Luff to round out their fourth line. Defensively, Jake Wallman, Moritz Seider, Oli Mata, Robert Hagg, and then Gustav Lindstrom and Jordan Osterley. They are on their defense. And then goaltending-wise, Alex Nedeljkovic and Magnus Hellberg. Right now, their injured list, Ville Husso, he is day-to-day. So if he's not the starter tomorrow, it's probably going to be Nedeljkovic. Adam Ernie is also day-to-day. Philip Zadina is day-to-day. Robbie Fabry, Ben Sherratt, Mark Pysyk, and Reichel Rasmussen. They have a bunch of players who are banged up right now. But again, these are 2 points that you need to have. The Penguins, they were playing well against the Red Wings the first time they were here. Remember, they jumped out to that 4-0 lead. After the first period, they were just destroying the Red Wings. And then, like clockwork, with how the Penguins have blown leads all season, came back to bite them. I believe it was, 4-2 going into the third period. Red Wings were able to tie it and then win the game in overtime. And, oh, yeah, they got grittied on by Jake Wallman. Yes. They remember that game? They got grittied on. And it was very embarrassing. To say the least. You cannot get graded much less on the road, especially not at your home building. For the Penguins, do what they did in the first period last time. They lit up the Red Wings goaltenders, but also just play better defensively. Do not let your foot off the gas pedal against this kind of team. The Red Wings, they're playing for pride at this point. Sure, they're not mathematically eliminated just yet, but they are still playing like their season is on the line. They're going to give you everything they have. There's these bad teams, they're not just going to roll over and die and let you just steamroll them. That's just, the Penguins have found that out multiple times these last couple of weeks. It's not going to happen. You need to go in there and show that you are better than them and that you deserve to be in the playoffs. This week is set up really nicely for the Penguins. You have the Red Wings, you have the Predators, Bruins, okay, that's whatever. Then you have the Flyers. Those are 3 games that you should be able to win. You win those games, even if you drop that one against the Bruins, which is fine. It's the Boston freaking Bruins. They're one of the best. This is one of the best teams in NHL history by points percentage. But you go 3-1 or 3-0-1, maybe? You're golden going into those final 5 games of the regular season. Starts, though, with the Red Wings. You have to beat a bad team when they're out of it. They're not playing good hockey. They sold at the deadline, especially Tyler Bertuzzi. He's not there anymore. You need to beat these kind of teams when, they're not going to make the playoffs. It's a shame that it's really just come down to this, but when teams like this come on your schedule, you have to know what to do against them. And this week, I think will really show everyone, is this team a true playoff team? Can you beat the teams below you in the standings? We're going to find that out this week, starting against the Red Wings here. I want the power play, specifically on the road to be better. I want the penalty kill to be better. Hopefully the goaltender, whoever starts, is able to make the saves that need to be made. And I want to see the finishing ability really start to get going. We saw against the Capitals, especially through, that first period, they were the better team, the Penguins, but their lack of finishing ability was on display yet again. That can't be the case in this one against the Red Wings or, a lot of these games here down the stretch. So that's what I'm really looking for in this one against the Red Wings. Forechecking hard, defending hard, goalie needs to make the saves, special team, you got to win the special teams battle. All the flaws that have been on display for the Penguins, they need to go out the door in these remaining 9 games. I also want to maybe see some depth scoring for the Penguins in this one. Last but not least, coming into this game, the Penguins, they're 6-0-2 in their last 8 games against the Red Wings, points in 8 straight. They've also won 3 consecutive games at Little Caesars Arena. They're also 9-7-5 against the Atlantic Division this season. Look for those to look out for. Rickard Rakell, 17 points in 16 games against the Red Wings. He also has points in 4 of his last 5 games against the Red Wings. And goaltender Tristan Jarry, 2-0 with a 1.50 goals against average and a .954 save percentage in 2 career starts versus the Red Wings. If he gets a start, could be good news because he's played well. Remember, DeSmith was in net when the Penguins blew that lead just a few months ago. It wasn't really his full fault that they lost, but he still wasn't good enough in those final couple of periods. But we'll have to see how this one goes. Penguins need a win here. Panthers play the Senators tonight. That's a big result to look for. The Sabres play tonight. We're scoreboard watching. We're looking at it. See what the Penguins can do. If the Sabres and the Senators lose tonight, the Penguins could potentially build an even stronger lead on those 2 teams if they're able to win on Tuesday, potentially get their lead for that final wildcard spot up to 5 points and potentially leapfrog the New York Islanders, who have a really nasty schedule down the stretch as well. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for listening / watching. I'll be back with another episode for you all on Tuesday evening, where we'll recap that game against the Red Wings and look ahead to later on this week. So again, thank you all so much for listening or watching, and I'll talk with you all on Tuesday.